And we welcome you to the Delta Center here in Salt Lake City, Utah. I am Vinny from Vito Productions, and the NBA2K26 presents another exciting edition of the 2025-2026 NBA season playthrough here. We have a matchup featuring the Dallas Mavericks at the Utah Jazz. The Mavericks at 18-19 on the season. They are in third place in the Southwest Division, 10th in the Western Conference. And we're looking at the Utah Jazz at 2-34, currently on a 24-game losing streak, as well as they just fired their head coach, Will Hardy. And we got Jacob Underwood, the interim coach, coaching his first game in this video here. Starting lineups will be Kyrie Irving making his first watch game appearance, as well as Klay Thompson, Cooper Flagg, Derek Lively the second, and Daniel Gafford to line up for the Mavericks here. You see the Mavericks won the tip. And for the Jazz, they are fully healthy. They got Keontae George, Isaiah Collier, Lauri Markkanen, Filipowski, and Walker Kessler, who's out for this, as Irving will get the Mavericks on the board to start this game. And Walker Kessler, as I said, who's out for the season in real life, but once the season begins and they're not on the pre-existing injury list before this season playthrough begins, I will not add them onto the injury list. The only things I do here, as you see, the shot is up is good, and we are tied at 2. The only things I do are manually will be see Irving for 3. He drains it. He has scored the first 5 points for the Mavericks so far, and the Mavs up by 3 over a minute into the game. See, Keontae George had the bucket there. Collier has it now for the Jazz. 10 on the shot clock. The only things I do will be like if there's a trade or George for 3. That is no good. Trades, firings, suspensions. Those are the things I'll do manually. You see Cooper Flagg back over to Thompson here. And for those who are new to this channel, you see Irving with a jump shot. That is no good. Kessler will get the rebound. For those who are new to this channel, this is one of my projects I'm doing. This is for the 2025-2026 NBA season playthrough, where I play one game for every 2 to 3, maybe even more calendar days, depending on how this calendar looks like. One game so I can fast track the season, as well as I go play the game, go through the stats, go through post-game ticker for those calendar days of the remaining games I don't play, and then also I go through the injury report, and as I said, any notable news and notes. That is for this premise of the series. I do other content too, College Football 26. Yesterday I had the most recent rankings. You see Collier's going to go to the line, count that shot. It's an and one opportunity as Klay is called for the foul. As the Jazz, as I said, are in the midst of a 24-game losing streak. They have not won a game since November 13th in this universe. The calendar date is Thursday, January 8th, 2026, as you see Collier ties the game. They went 0 for December, so they went the whole holiday season without seeing a win here, but you could give the credit to the fans still showing up. Though I know this is AI generated, so the fans are going to show up no matter what. Irving for 3. He drains it. He has all 8 points so far for the Mavericks. As I said, Irving was a pre-existing injury from a season ago. He started off the season, just came back. They see Cooper Flagg will get the rebound off the miss. Irving for 3. That is no good. Walker Kessler with the rebound. Keontae George crossing the half-court line. Dishes it out over to Collier. Collier feeds it over to Markkanen. Markkanen to George. George shoots the 3. He drains it, and we are tied at 8. 5 points for Keontae George. Back over to Gafford. Irving, another 3-point shot. That's in. Kyrie Irving has scored all 11 points for the Mavericks so far in this game. They are back up by 3. They have yet to trail in this game. Keontae George going up against Irving right now. As I said, we see Keontae George with the layup. That is good. Both teams shooting 4 or 7 right now. The Mavericks are playing their second and final game in schedule block number 2. We only have one more game left to schedule block number 2. And I'll announce what I'm going to be doing for schedule block number 3. As you see, Irving once again. Another, I think that's his third 3 of the game. Maybe his 4th, as we have a timeout by the Jazz. First timeout of the game. It is 14-10 Mavericks. We're going to take a timeout as well. You're watching NBA 2K on Vita Productions. And we are back here in Salt Lake City. As you can see, as I said, the Jazz are 2-34. They were actually 15.5 games behind the 10th seed of Dallas for that 10th seed, but I don't think that's going to really happen, as we are now in the early part of January for the season, as Filipowski is going to send the inbound for the Jazz. As I said, the Jazz are 2-34 on the season, losers of 24 straight. Keontae George back over to Filipowski. Collier for 3. He drains it. Collier now has 5 points in this game. It's 14-13 Mavericks there. So we're over 5 minutes into the game. As I was mentioning earlier before the timeout, I see Irving. He misses that one as Walker Kessler will get the rebound. Keontae George with it. Chance for the Jazz to be on top for the first time. And look at that alley-oop. I believe that is Walker Kessler that had the dunk. George had the assist on there, and the Jazz are on top for the first time in this game. See Thompson with it. He's going to pass it over to Gafford. Gafford still in there, 10 on the shot clock, dishing it over to Irving. Irving for 3. He drains it. That's 7. He scored all 17 for the Mavericks for this point so far, halfway through the first quarter. For those who are unfamiliar, they see Kessler with a slam dunk. And we are tied at 17 again. George again on the assist. But for those who are unfamiliar, I do schedule blocks. The first 2 are random games where every team's guaranteed to be shown at least once. And here at schedule block number 2, this is the only time the Jazz are going to be shown, as we got one more game in schedule block. You see Irving coming around. He misses that one. Keontae George with the rebound for the Jazz. Jazz coming through. Passing it back over to Markkanen. Markkanen for 3. He drains it, and the Jazz are on top by 3. They need a jolt going on right now. As I said, they have been losers of 24 straight games. See Irving with it, scoring all 17 points for the Mavericks so far. 6 on the shot clock. Irving, jumper, good. That's 19 for him, 7 of 11. The rest of the team has only taken one shot. Only one shot has any other player taken so far outside of Kyrie Irving. See George with it. Dish it over to Collier. Collier for 3. That is off the iron. Thompson will get the rebound for the Mavericks. Chance to retake the lead again. Clay with it, 14. He loses it. George is going to come up with it for Utah. George passing it over to Collier. Collier with the layup. That is good. And the Jazz up by 3 again. As we're approaching 4 minutes of play in the first quarter. Kyrie with it. He's been on hot fire so far in this game. Kyrie dishing it over to Cooper Flack. Cooper Flack for 3. That is off the iron. George will get the rebound. Markkanen for the Jazz. Over to Collier. Collier dishing it over to George. Finds Collier again. 7 on the shot clock. Clay's trying to make sure Collier doesn't get the shot up. Gets a little screen for a second. Collier does get open for a shot. That is no good. Gafford getting the rebound. Cooper Flag over to Kyrie. Kyrie, is that a 3-point attempt? Either way, that's a miss anyway, so we would not have known if he was in or out. See George coming around. Dishing over to Collier. Collier for three. That is off the iron. And Derek Lively to second with the rebound here as we're approaching 3 minutes of play in the first quarter. But as I mentioned, though, you see Lively, and that's his first 2 points of the game. And somebody other than Kyrie Irving getting under the score sheet for the Mavericks here. And the Jazz will call their second timeout here. 2:46 to play. They lead by 1. We'll take a timeout. You're watching NBA 2K on V-Dub Productions. All right, we are back from the timeout here. As I mentioned before, this is towards the end of schedule block number 2. As I said, the first 2 schedule blocks are random games where every team is guaranteed to be shown at least once. This is the Jazz only appearance here in schedule block number 2. They were featured only once on schedule block number 1. They lost that one. The Mavericks have been were on schedule block number 2 once. And they ended up losing that game to Houston. And they also lost to the Wizards in schedule block number 1. You see Collier with the shot. That is no good. So both teams are looking for their first watched game win. See Irving coming around. Layup, and that is good. He has 21 of the 23 points so far. And the Mavericks are on top by 1 again. See back over to Walker Kessler. Ace Bailey into the game, the rookie out of Rutgers. 8 on the shot clock for Collier. Collier puts it up. That is off the iron. But look at that. Lauri Markkanen. No, that's Walker Kessler. Never mind. Has a tip in off the offensive rebound, and the Jazz are on top again by 1. Marshall into the game for the Mavericks as well. The same with P.J. Washington. Irving for 3. He drains it. That's 24 points for him. 24 out of 26, and the Jazz have scored 24 as a team. Irving wants to make a really good impression here. As you see, Collier will tie the game at 26. Minute 15 to play in the first quarter. We're all knotted at 26. Daniel Gafford dishing it back to Irving. Hands it off to Klay Thompson. 10 on the shot clock for the Mavericks. Irving has it again. Irving for 3. He has 27 points. He's outscoring the Jazz right now in this first quarter. Kessler coming in with the slam dunk. As I said, Walker Kessler showing a little bit of heart. Actually, the Jazz as a team showing some heart right now. Only down by 1 right now, as we're down to the last 40 seconds of the first quarter. Mavericks up by 1. Kyrie had 24 points in their last game against the Kings, and he now has 29. He had 24 altogether in their win against the Kings in their last game. He has 29 here in the first quarter. Markkanen. Dishing it back over to Collier. Hands it back over to Kessler. 8 on the shot clock here. Ace Bailey with the slam dunk. That's his first 2 points for the rookie out of Rutgers, as the Mavericks are holding on for the last shot. Irving, jumper, no good, and that will do it. We are at the end of the first quarter here. A very close one right now. The Mavericks leading at 31-30. Kyrie Irving scoring 29 of those 31. We'll be back. You're watching NBA 2K on V-Dub Productions. Get ready to set to start the second quarter here in Salt Lake City. It's 31-30 Mavericks on top. As you see Clayton Jr. into the game now for the Utah Jazz. Joseph Nurkic also into the game. Sends a ball for 3. He drains it. That's first 3 points of the game. And the Jazz are on top by 2 again. P.J. Washington with it. Coming around. P.J. Washington with the slam dunk. As we look at the lineup set for the Jazz, you see Clayton Jr., Bailey, Nurkic, Sensabaugh. You see Yusuf Nurkic And Niang also. Niang for three. No good. Marshall will get the rebound. Kyrie Irving, 29 points in that first quarter, 29 to 31. He's going to get a well-needed break. You see P.J. Washington for three off the iron. Nurkic will get the rebound as Clayton Jr. has it. So we're over a minute into the second quarter. Clayton Jr. for a three. That is off the iron. Powell will get the rebound. Over to Marshall. Marshall back to Russell. D'Angelo Russell. He's going to go to the line. He's going to shoot too, though, as Clayton Jr. called for his first personal foul. First team foul against the Jazz. Chance for players other than Kyrie Irving to get on the board, as you see. Gafford, I think, had the other 2 points for as far as starters go. Russell puts the Mavericks back on top with that first free throw. Caleb Martin coming into the game for the Mavericks. And for the Jazz, Williams now coming into the game for the Jazz. Trailing by 2 here, a minute and a half into the second quarter. As I said, the Jazz are on a 24-game losing streak. Bailey for three. That is off the iron. Marshall with the rebound. Russell back over to Christie. Max Christie for three. He drains it. It's a 5-point lead now. I believe that might be the largest lead for the Mavericks. Ace Bailey, the rookie, with the layup there. Looking at the assists there, the Jazz are 28th in the league with 21.3 assists per game. They have 10 already. Caleb Martin over to P.J. Washington. Washington passes back over to Martin, and Martin with the layup. And the Mavericks extend their lead back up to 5. 8 lead changes, 6 ties so far. I believe the Mavericks' largest lead right now is 5, and the Jazz led by as many as 3. Ace Bailey for 3. In and out. Washington grabbing the rebound for the Mavs. Marshall has it. Back over to D'Angelo Russell. So we're about 3 minutes into the second quarter. There's a jumper. That is off the iron. Ace Bailey getting the rebound. Williams has it for the Jazz right now. 11 on the shot clock. 10. Has it over to Niang. Niang for 3. He drains it, and the Jazz are within 2. D'Angelo Russell crossing the half court line. P.J. Washington is a shot up. That is off the iron. Nurkic will get the rebound. Ace Bailey now with it. Can he tie or take the lead for the Jazz? Bailey coming around with this jam, and we are tied at 40. Jazz, as I said, loses 24 straight games, 2-34 overall, hanging around with the Mavericks right now, who are 18-19. Washington, jump shot, no good. Niang will get the rebound as he dishes it over to Williams. Williams trying to get room here. He'll feed it to Niang, and Niang with a dunk himself. The Jazz are on top. Timeout Mavericks, 7:38 to play in the second quarter. We're going to take a timeout. You are watching NBA 2K on Vita Productions. And we are back here in Salt Lake City. The Jazz up by 2 right now, 7:38 to play until halftime. We're getting substitutions on both sides. So you see head coach Jason Kidd for the Mavericks. Won an NBA championship with the Mavericks back in 2011. You see Gafford inbounding it to Russell coming out of timeout. Kyrie Irving back into the game as well. He had 29 points in that first quarter out of the 31 that was scored. You see Russell for 3. He drains it. And the Mavericks are on top by 1 again. A little bit unexpected back and forth game Filipowski. 10 on the shot clock here. Dishes it back over to George. 5 on the shot clock. George for 3. That is off the iron. Derek Lively the second with it as Cooper Flagg has it. Over to D'Angelo Russell. Russell back to Gafford. Over to Kyrie Irving. As I said, he had 29 of the 31 points that was scored for the... You see Cooper Flagg for 3. That is off the iron. No good. Filipowski will get the rebound. Lauri Markkanen now has it. George now with it on 13 on the shot clock. Dishing it over to Kessler. Leads it over to Bailey. Bailey finding George. Over to Markkanen. Markkanen for 3. Off the iron. Lively will get the rebound. Kyrie Irving with it again. Back over to Cooper Flagg. Kyrie with it. Oh, look at that. Kyrie for 3. That is in and out. Filipowski will get the rebound here. Over halfway through the second quarter here. 43-42 Mavericks on top over the Utah Jazz here at the Delta Center. George, jumper. That is no good. Derek Lively with it. Moving down with the rebound. Now Kyrie has it across the half court. Still holding on to it right now. 12 on the shot clock. Feeds Derek Flagg, or Cooper Flagg, I should say. 7 on the shot clock. Flagg is able to find a way. Dishes it over to Lively. Dishes back to Russell. Russell needs to get that shot off before the shot clock violation. Misses that as Walker Kessler will get the rebound. Ace Bailey still on the court for the Jazz for the rookie. Back over to Walker Kessler. 10 on the shot clock. George trying to come through with it. He'll get the shot up. That is off the iron, and Gafford will get the rebound as Irving has it here. The Jazz held scoreless for the last 2 minutes of 45 seconds and counting. Gafford, assist by Kyrie Irving on that Gafford dunk, and it's 45-42. Mavericks up to by 3 again. They led by as many as 5, and Utah will call a timeout here. 4:40 to play in the second quarter. We're going to take another timeout as well. You're watching NBA 2K on VW Productions. Substitution on the court. As we are back here at the Delta Center here. 3-point lead for the Mavericks here. 4:40 to play until halftime. 45-42 Mavericks on top as we're coming out as substitutions are made on the court as the Mavericks, or the Jazz, are going to get ready to inbound it. As you see Keontae George taking the inbound. Collier with it. Being guarded by Klay Thompson here. You see Keontae George had 13 points and 4 assists in their loss against the Oklahoma City Thunder in their last game. George coming around. Layup. Good! Jazz within 1. Keontae George, 9 points for the Jazz so far. See Kyrie Irving still have not scored a single point in this second quarter. You see Klay Thompson for 3. That is off the iron. Kessler will get the rebound. The Jazz averaging 45.3 rebounds a game. That's good for 21st in the league. As you see, there's a steal by the Mavericks. Kyrie now has it. Kyrie coming around with a layup. That is good. That's 31 for him. His first 2 points in the second quarter. Scored 31 of the 47 points scored by the Mavericks. As I said, George for 3. Off the iron. Gafford will get the rebound. You see George over to Gafford. No, that was Flagg to Gafford. Flagg will have the assists on the Gafford dunk, and the Mavericks are on top by 5, matching their largest lead. George back over to Filipowski. Collier with it. So we're about 3 minutes to play until the second quarter here. George has it for the George for 3. Off the iron. Thompson will get the rebound. Kyrie Irving. This year back over to Derek Lively III. Irving with it again. Irving for 3. That's in. It's an 8-point lead for the Mavericks. They're on a 12-2 run in the last 4:53. Kyrie Irving now has 34 in this game. And we're not even at halftime yet. George with the slam dunk. Jazz within 6. Kyrie Irving. He got a little bit of a screen there, but there's 10 on the shot clock. Being guarded by George. 5 on the shot clock. Irving, layup, that is good. Kyrie Irving, 36 points. He's finally starting to heat up here in the second quarter. He has 7 of those in the second quarter. George for 3, off the iron. Cooper Flagg with the rebound. Mavericks up by 8, largest lead of the game. Thompson for 3. That is no good. Filipowski will get the rebound here as we're under a minute and a half to play until halftime. The Jazz trailing by 8 now. Here the Joe Jazz go. Wow, the crowd is still in it. Keontae George, Collier for 3. That is off the iron, but look at Walker Kessler with the offensive rebound and the points. Jazz still within 6 here as we're under a minute to play until halftime. Gafford coming around. That is good. The Mavericks up by 8 again. See Keontae George taking the rock through the half-court line. You see Collier. You even look on that little bottom ticker. You see Jazz on a 24-game losing streak. I've mentioned that quite a few times already. George over to Collier. Collier for 3. That is off the iron. Cooper Flagg with the rebound. Flagg. He loses it as Lauri Markkanen will come up with the theft there. Shot clock is still on, as the game clock was ahead of the shot clock just by a few tenths of a second here. George with it. Keontae George. 3 on the shot clock. Collier for 3. That is no good, and that will also do it for the end of the first half here. Kyrie Irving, a 36-point performance in the first half. His Mavericks are up 56-48. We are heading to halftime, and we are watching NBA 2K on Vita Productions. Set at the start of the third quarter. Jazz leading it by, the Mavericks leading it by 8, as you see Kyrie Irving highlights here. He scored 36 of the 56 points in this game. He scored 29 of the first 31 points. That was in the first quarter. As you see the Jazz getting set to inbound it. Kessler running it over to George here. It's an 8-point deficit for the Jazz here. But they are still well within this game here. As you see, the starting lineups for both teams are out on the court right now. Irving has it over to Klay Thompson here. Back over to Lively, over to Kyrie Irving here. He has 36 points. Irving, jump shot, no good. Markkanen with the rebound. As we are about 40 seconds into the third quarter here. 56-48 Mavericks on top. Jazz looking to try to come back in this game. 6 on the shot clock. George passing back over to Markkanen. Markkanen for 3. Off the iron. Derek Lively has it, as you see Klay Thompson with it. Dating back to the end of the first half, you see the Jazz on a scoring drought. Kyrie Irving, his first 2 points of the second half. He now has 38. George has it over to Filipowski, dishing it over to Markkanen. Markkanen for 3, off the iron. Derek Lively will get the rebound. Markkanen only 3 points in this game on 2 assists, as Irving is going to go to the line. Lauri Markkanen called for the foul, and let me tell you, head coach Jacob Underwood not really happy right now in his debut. His Jazz are down by 10 as we are over a minute and a half into the game. Kyrie hits the first one. That's now 39 for him. Kyrie Irving, his first watch game appearance in this season playthrough after coming back from that nasty injury stemming from last season. Irving will sink it. That's 40 for him. And we're only a minute and a half into the third quarter. I'm very surprised to see what this is going to be. He might have performance of the year in the watch game right now. George over to Collier. Collier. That is off the iron. Gafford with the rebound. Kyrie Irving. Over to Cooper Flag for 3. That is off the iron, but look at Derek Lively with the tip-in off the offensive rebound. 62-48 Mavericks on top. It's a 14-point lead, the largest for the Mavs. Kessler over to George. George passing it over to Markkanen. Markkanen misses, but look at Walker Kessler. Offensive rebound and a dunk. That's 12 points for Walker Kessler here. Jazz within 12. Klay Thompson. He dished it over to Irving. Irving for 3. He nails that one. That's 43 for him. 7 so far in the second half. And a timeout for the Jazz. We're going to take a timeout as well. 9:12 to play. Mavericks up by 15. You're watching NBA 2K on Vita Productions. Don't forget, coming up a little bit later today at 3 p.m. Eastern, we will have the ACC Championship game simulation between Duke and Virginia. And a little bit later tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern will be the SEC Championship, Georgia and Alabama. That is part of my conference championship simulations for College Football 26. And also go back, you can watch yesterday. I see Keontae George for 3 and the Jazz within 12. Speaking of College Football 26 content, yesterday was my final projection video for my 2018 College Football Playoff. You see Kyrie Irving, he misses that one. Kessler has it. Irving got 43 points in this game already, as we're not even halfway through the third quarter. Keontae George dishes it over to Markkanen. Markkanen, he will drill that 3, and the Jazz only within 9. It's back to a single-digit margin again, but you look at Gafford with the dunk. Daniel Gafford puts the Mavericks up by double digits again. Largest lead was 14 points for the Mavericks. They're up by 11. Collier with it. Back over to Kessler. Oh, no, wait a minute. 15-point lead, I believe. That was a 15-point lead because I forgot Irving hit the 3 to go up by 15 prior to... You see, he dishes it, seeing it to Irving, dishes it over to Thompson, and Thompson will drain the 3. 14-point lead again. I forgot that before the last timeout was a 15-point lead for the Mavericks. Markkanen for 3. He nails that one. It's 11 points again. But the Jazz were able, you see Gafford, and you're not going to be able to count that because they didn't go in. But Kessler with the foul as Gafford's going to go to the line shooting 2.
Take a break. 2 shots.
Gafford will drain the first one to go back up by 12. The Mavericks, though, have had a little bit of a seesaw season. I mean, they are 18-19, but they started off the season at 7-0 at one point. They have lost 19 of 30 games since then. Looking to try to get back to the 500 mark here in the early part of January, as it's a 13-point lead for the Mavericks after Gafford hits the second one. Collier finding Kessler, dishing it over to George. George to Collier again. 10 on the shot clock. Collier finding George. 3 on the shot clock. George, he'll drain it. Deficit's 11 again. You look at Keontae George, 16 points. Gafford, count it! Walker Kessler called on that shooting foul as Gafford was going for the dunk. Gafford with an and one opportunity here to try to put his team up by 14. And we're starting to see players other than Kyrie Irving getting some points in this game. Gafford definitely up there. He misses that one. Kessler will come down with the rebound. Collier has it for the Jazz here. George for 3. That is off the iron. Gafford will have it. You see Cooper Flagg, I believe he's been held scoreless. And I thought he had a backcourt violation for a second. To Kyrie Irving. Irving for 3. Off the iron. Gafford with the offensive rebound. Dishes over to Cooper Flagg. He misses that one. Filipowski will get the rebound. Keontae George fighting for Collier. 15 on the shot clock. Back over to Kessler. To Markkanen. Over at Collier. Collier for 3. Off the iron. Kyrie Irving with the third bucket. Or with the rebound, I should say. Thompson. Over to Derek Lively. Back over to Kyrie Irving here. 10 on the shot clock. 9, 8. Irving. Whoa, fakes him out. That was sweet there. He now has 45 in this game. And there, George for 3. He drains it. 19 points for Keontae George. And the Jazz within 12 here. 5:20 to play in the third quarter. Gafford has it now. 10 on the shot clock. Over to Kyrie. Kyrie for 3. Off the iron. Filipowski will get the rebound. Chance to get it to within 10 or maybe even back to single digits for the Jazz on this floor. Collier. Thought he traveled for a second, but George for 3. Off the iron. Thompson will get the rebound. Over to Cooper Flagg. Number 1 pick in the draft, but you see Klay Thompson splash! Mavericks up by 15. I believe that matches their largest lead of the game. Markkanen for 3. That is off the iron. Derek Lively the second with it. Mavericks leading it by 15. Irving coming around with it. 45 already. Cooper Flagg with a 3-point attempt. That is off the iron. And there is a loose ball foul called against Gafford. That's the first team foul here. So we got some substitutions here as Kyrie Irving is going to go to the bench. As I said, this is his first time he's been on a watched game, and he's putting on quite a show right now. Filipowski, back over. Filipowski has it again here. 8 on the shot clock. Dishing over to George here. 4 on the shot clock. Collier for 3. No good. Gafford will get the rebound as D'Angelo Russell. Passing it back over to Klay Thompson. To Gafford. Russell. 8 on the shot clock. See Russell coming through. He's blocked, but they still maintain possession. Klay Thompson misses that one. Kessler will grab the rebound. Jazz trailing by 15 here. 3:13 to play in the third quarter. 79-64, the Mavs on top. 10 on the shot clock. Collier. Back over to George. 4 on the shot clock. George for 3. That is off the iron, and Thompson will get the rebound. Gafford has it for the Mavs. To D'Angelo Russell. 8 on the shot clock. Russell! And he puts the Mavericks on top by 17. Their largest lead of the game here. 2:35 to play here in the third. Looks like we're starting to see the silence here at the Delta Center. Ace Bailey out on the court for the first time in the second half. Keontae George for 3. And he's showing some heart for the Jazz here. They're within 14. Thompson over to Cooper Flagg, who's actually been held scoreless right now. 10 on the shot clock. Russell for 3. He puts the Mavericks up by 17 again. Got a minute 45 to play in the third. Kessler. Over to George. Back over to Filipowski. Back to Ace Bailey. And there, Collier with it. 3. Collier coming around. That is no good. Gafford grabbing the rebound. D'Angelo Russell has it for the Jazz. Back over to Thompson. Thompson for 3. No good. Ace Bailey has the rebound for the Utah Jazz. And there's Keontae George again with layup. Timeout Mavericks. 1:09 to play in the third. We're going to take a timeout as well. You're watching NBA 2K on Vita Productions. And we are back here in Salt Lake City. We look at the last 10 games for fast break point leaders here. The Jazz at 19.8, number 2 in the league. So they get fast break points. They just can't find a way to win these games. As we see P.J. Washington into the game now for the first time in the second half. Kyrie Irving back into the game. He has 45. Back over to Klay Thompson. Over to Irving again. Over to Russell. Russell for 3. He drains that one. Mavericks up by their largest now of 18 points. 45 seconds to play here in the third quarter. It is 87-69. Utah on top. Sends a ball for 3. He drains that one. 15-point lead again. Or 15. They're within 15 again. P.J. Washington. Back over to Kyrie Irving. Irving coming around the layup. That is good. That's 47 for him. P.J. Washington had the assist there. Kyrie has 11 points in this third quarter. Markkanen's going to go to the line as Klay Thompson just gets his call for his second personal foul. Lauri Markkanen from Gonzaga via Finland. 6.5 in the third quarter. MVP chance for Markkanen at the line. You're down by 16, number 1. Number 2, your team is 2-34 and currently on a midst of a 24-game losing streak. And if things don't if there is no massive comeback, it looks like it's going to be 25-point lead here. Irving over to Washington. Washington at the buzzer. No good. We are done. We are through 3 quarters of play here. The Mavericks leading it 89-74. We'll be back to start the fourth quarter. You're watching NBA 2K on Vita Productions. Starting the fourth quarter off with the assists of the game by State Farm. That goes to Kyrie Irving, and that is on a Daniel Gafford dunk there. As we start the fourth quarter, reminding everybody that when this game is over with, we are not done yet. As you see some of the crowd starting to file out of the Delta Center. You see D'Angelo Russell. There's a bucket. That is good. You see Sensabaugh, Bailey, Nurkic, Markkanen, and Niang to start the fourth quarter for the Jazz. 17-point lead for the Mavericks. Looking to try to get back to 500 here. The Jazz want to try to make a big comeback here. Markkanen for three. He drains it. Jazz within 14. Irving, I know. Or was that Irving in the game? I know that's Russell. Yeah, Irving, Russell. Cooper Flag, I think, is in there. As there's a miss right there. See Ace Bailey with it, the rookie out of Rutgers. Oh, look at that, coming passing, and I think he should have gotten the shot up. You see Markkanen will get the three off. That's no good, but sometimes you got to go with that layup opportunity when it's there. You see Kyrie Irving layup, no good. Markkanen grabbing the rebound here as we're over a minute 15 into the fourth quarter. It's a 14-point lead for the Mavericks. Nurkic. There's Niang for three. No good. Washington with the rebound. Marshall has it. So it's PJ Washington, Marshall, Cooper Flag, Kyrie Irving. I see Irving. There's a layup attempt. That is no good. Sensabaugh with it. Sensabaugh has it over to Marshall. Back over to Nurkic. Nurkic to Sensabaugh for three. He drains it, and the Jazz are only within 11. 2 minutes into the game. Russell over to Washington for three. Off the iron, Markkanen with the rebound. Chance to get this back to within single digits. Over to Bailey. Pass it back to Markkanen for three. He does drain it, and it's only 8 points now. The Mavericks were down by, or the Jazz were down by as many as 18 in the third quarter. They cut it to within 8 early in the fourth quarter. Timeout, Mavericks. We're going to take a timeout as well. You're watching NBA 2K on Vita Productions. And we are back here in Salt Lake City. Jazz are now within 8 here. 9:28 to play here in the fourth quarter. 91-83 Mavericks on top. They led by as many as 18, but the Jazz not going away yet. See Gafford going to inbound it over to Marshall. Kyrie has it now for the Mavericks. 13 on the shot clock. Kyrie coming through. Layup. That is good. That's 49 for him. And the Mavericks on top by double digits once again. The Mavericks shooting 53% to 47% for the Jazz. Ace Bailey almost had his jump shot there. Back over to Markkanen. Over to Bailey. To Sensabaugh. Over to Bailey. Sensabaugh again. Bailey, they're just playing hot potato right now. They don't have time to waste here. Bailey, jump shot. No good. Gafford gets the rebound. Russell has it. Over to Marshall. Kyrie Irving, as I said, 49 points in this game. There's a jumper. That is good. That's actually a three-point shot. He's now at 52. Kyrie Irving, welcome to a watch game performance. First one for him this season. Markkanen for three, no good. As the Mavericks are also trying to get their first win in a watch game in this season playthrough and get to the 500 mark. I don't know how much more times we're going to see the Jazz unless Gafford there with a dunk, and the lead is back up to 15. 7-0 run coming out of the timeout. Niang over back to Sensabaugh, back over to Ace Bailey. To Markkanen to Niang. 7 on the shot clock. Bailey for 3. He drains it. Jazz within 12 again. Gafford. Back over to Russell. Pass it back to Washington. PJ Washington for 3. No good. Ace Bailey coming around with it. The lead rebound. Markkanen has it for the Markkanen, and they will go to the line shooting 2. Blocking foul called against Marshall here. To tell you, Jason Kidd not happy there. Najee Marshall. The Mavericks are not out of the woods yet. This game is nowhere near over with at this point. And if Markkanen hits them both, it's back to a 10-point game again. And he will sink the first one here as we got substitutions. Cooper Flagg back into the game. I thought that was Flagg for a second. That wasn't him that started the fourth quarter. So I do apologize there. Markkanen will sink them both. Lively the second, inbounding it over to Kyrie Irving. Irving for 3. Off the iron. Markkanen with the rebound. It's a 10-point lead for the Mavericks here. George holding on to it over to Collier. 10 on the shot clock. Collier. Layup. Good. Jazz within 8 again. Collier with 12 points in this game. 8 in the paint. And that is a careless turnover against the Mavericks, and the Jazz will get it. Look at the Jazz upcoming schedule. They're home to the Hornets, and they're on the road again for 3 games. At the Cavs, at the Bulls, and then at the Mavericks. The same Mavericks team. And we see over here, Collier has it for the Collier for 3. That is off the iron. Kyrie Irving. Back over to Flagg. Back to Lively. Lively with the layup. That is good. It's a 10-point lead again for the Mavericks. And the Mavericks reach the century mark. There's a nice alley-oop. Markkanen with the dunk. Jazz once again within 8. Derek Lively holding on for the Mavericks here. Irving for 3. That is off the iron. Kessler will get the rebound. George has it now. Collier has it for the Jazz. Collier for 3. That is off the iron, and Gafford will get the rebound there. Over to Cooper Flagg. Flagg. Over to Irving. Irving with a jump shot. That is off the iron. Filipowski will get the rebound. Five minutes in the remaining here in the fourth quarter. It's an 8-point lead for the Mavericks. George for 3. Off the iron. Lively the second will get it, as you see Kyrie Irving once again with it. Irving, jumper. No good. Kessler will get the rebound here. George. Keontae George, but over to Markkanen. Markkanen for 3. No good. Gafford. Back over to Cooper Flagg. Flagg with the layup. That is good. I believe those are his first 2 points of the game. And it's a double digits again for the Mavericks as far as their lead. They led by as many as 18, but the Jazz got it to within 8. Markkanen for 3. That is off the iron. Gafford. You see Kyrie Irving coming through. Irving. Bucket is good. That's 54 for him in this game. 21 of 38 shooting. Under 4 minutes to play here. Mavericks up by 12, and that's a miss Gafford will get the rebound. Flag has it for the Mavericks. Kyrie Irving again. With his team up by 12, there's a three-point attempt. That is no good. Kessler grabbing the rebound. Collier will get it now has it for the Utah Jazz. Over to George. .320 to play here in the fourth. Markkanen. Collier for three. That is in and out. Lively the second has it for Klay Thompson. Thompson over to Irving. Three on the shot. 3 minutes to play here. Irving, bucket, no good, but he gets his offensive rebound, and he gets the put in. That's 56 points for Kyrie Irving. Timeout, Utah. We're going to take a timeout as well. 2:48 to play in the fourth quarter. You're watching NBA 2K on Vita Productions. All right, we are back here at Salt Lake City. It's a 14-point lead for the Mavericks. They're led by as many as 18. As I said, the Jazz were trying not to go away in this game. They were down by, and they got to within 8. They have not been anywhere closer than that here as we got 2:48 to play here. Kyrie Irving, his first watch game of the season that we see him in a watch game. He's put up 56 points to this point. George for three. That is off the iron. Gafford will get the rebound. Kyrie still out there in this game. Starter still out there. Kyrie, jumper. That is no good, but Gafford gets the offensive rebound. Cooper Flag for three. He nails it. The Mavericks up by 17. 2:20 to play here. Cooper Flag only 5 points in this game. But you know, when one of your players scored 56 of your 109 points to this point, no one's going to be looking at the fact that Cooper Flag only had 5 points. They're going to be talking about the 56-point performance here as we're down to the final 2 minutes. Collier for three. He misses it, but Keontae George will get the offensive rebound and the putback. He has 26, and the Jazz within 15 here. 1:50 to play here in the fourth. Klay Thompson. As there's 11 on the shot clock. Thompson for three. That is in! Mavs tie their largest lead with 18. 112 to 94. And it very well looks like the Jazz are going to be on a 25-game losing streak. And the Mavericks look like they're going to reach 500 again on the season. Collier. That is no good. Gafford thought he had it. No, that was actually Klay, I think, that had the rebound for a second. That was Klay with the rebound here. Over Kyrie Irving here, 10 on the shot clock. Irving. That bucket is no good. Kessler will get the rebound. Markkanen has it. Oh, Collier. 15 on the shot clock. They do have to get something going on the shot clock. George has it. Dishing it over to Collier. 6 on the shot clock. George. No, that was Collier that misses it. Irving will get the rebound. I can safely say this is academic now. Thompson coming around with a dunk. It's a 20-point lead. That is the largest for the Mavericks. 25.4. They do have to get a shot off. But they can basically just hold on to it whether they make it or miss. Because it's not going to really matter. See, Collier. And I think that's what they're just going to do, because really there's no need to. As you see here, bucket is good. The Mavericks don't even have to cross half court. And that will do it behind a 56-point performance for Kyrie Irving in his first appearance in a watched game. The Dallas Mavericks cruise to a 114-96 victory over the Utah Jazz. The Mavericks go to 19-19. The Jazz will fall to 2-35, and the losing streak now moves to 25 games in a row. But stay tuned. We are not done yet. And we are now looking at the player statistics for this game, starting off with the home team, the Utah Jazz. Keontae George, 26 points, 4 rebounds, 7 assists, and a steal. Lauri Markkanen, 21 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, and 1 steal. Isaiah Collier, 14 points, 1 rebound, 2 assists. Walker Kessler, a double-double, 12 rebounds, 16 points. He also had a block in the game. The rookie Ace Bailey, 9 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists off the bench. Bryce Sensabaugh, 9 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist. George Niang, 5 points, 2 rebounds, and an assist. Kyle Filipowski only had 6 rebounds and an assist. Yusuf Nurkic, 2 rebounds, 2 assists. Cody Williams only had 2 assists. Walter Clayton Jr. only 1 assist. Then we have Kenyon Martin Jr., Kevin Love, Kyle Anderson. Taylor Hendricks did not play for the Utah Jazz in this game. And now for the victorious Dallas Mavericks. Player of the game, Kyrie Irving, and very deservingly so. 56 points, 3 rebounds, and 7 assists. He had 29 of those 56 in the first quarter alone. D'Angelo Russell, 15 points and 2 assists. Daniel Gafford, 14 points, 20 rebounds, 4 assists, and a steal. Klay Thompson, 11 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists. Derek Lively II, 6 points, 13 rebounds, and 3 assists. Cooper Flagg, 5 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. Max Christie, 3 points, scored. PJ Washington had 2 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists. Caleb Martin, 2 points, scored. Najee Marshall had 2 rebounds and an assist. Dwight Powell, 1 rebound only in this game. Then we have Miles Kelly, Brandon Williams, Jaden Hardy, Dante Exum, who is healthy, but they did not play for the Mavericks. And that will do it for your player statistics for this game. Stay tuned. We are not done yet. It is now time for the post-game ticker brought to you by 2K Sports. Starting off with Thursday, January 8, 2025. We have the Charlotte Hornets 132-127 winners over the Indiana Pacers. The Bulls 126-119 winners over the Miami Heat. The Minnesota Timberwolves 140-108 winners over the Cleveland Cavaliers, and then we, of course, the game that we watched, the Dallas Mavericks over the Utah Jazz, 114-96, where the Mavericks moved back up to 500, and the Jazz with the worst record at 2-35, and on midst of now a 25-game losing streak. Will this streak ever come to an end? And now for the games played on Friday, January 9, 2026. We head to Beantown, where the Raptors over the Celtics 128-109. The Sixers edge out the Magic 110-109. The Pelicans 125-92 winners over the Washington Wizards. The Clippers 134, the Nets 118. The Oklahoma City Thunder fall to the Memphis Grizzlies 121-104. The Denver Nuggets 123-113 winners over the Atlanta Hawks. The Knicks, the 20-point winners over the Phoenix Suns. The Warriors, 10-point winners over the Sacramento Kings, 127-117. The Trailblazers, 122-109 winners over the Houston Rockets. So that's a big upset there, win for the Trailblazers. And last but not least, the Lakers, 155, Bucks 137. And that will do it for your post-game ticker. As my buddy RJL Network would say, if your team won, congratulations. If not, there's always tomorrow. And now it's time to look at the injury reports for the games played after January 9, 2025. Or 2026, I should say. We got Andre Drummond still hurt for the 76ers. The Milwaukee Bucks and the Chicago Bulls are fully healthy. Jarrett Allen and Max Struss still out for the Cavaliers. The Boston Celtics are still without the services of Jason Tatum. They may not have him at all this season. If he is going to return, he might return closer to the end of the season, but I don't know, because it might be too little too late for the Celtics. Clippers are now without Brook Lopez. Memphis Grizzlies are fully healthy. Same with the Hawks. Miami Heat, of course, Terry Rozier, as I said, indefinite suspension for him. LaMelo Ball still out for the Hornets. The Jazz are fully healthy. They just clearly suck. For the Kings, Maxime Renaud out, as well as Domantas Sabonis. OJ Anunoby and Jalen Brunson are still out for the Knicks, so Brunson looks like he is going to get closer to return, as Yabusele will be returned for the Knicks. Dalton Knecht out for the Los Angeles Lakers. Still, Orlando Magic still without Wendell Carter Jr. and Jalen Suggs. Anthony Davis still out for the Dallas Mavericks. He was the only player for the Mavericks that was out. Nets are still without the services of Terrence Mann and Michael Porter Jr. For the Nuggets, Peyton Watson Jr., Aaron Gordon are out. Same with Nikola Jokic, who's still out with the flu. Tyrese Hurton, we already know. Halliburton, we know about his injury. New Orleans Pelicans are fully healthy. And look at that. Now it's just weeks and not months anymore for Jaden Ivey with that cracked vertebrae. Let me see. Strained left hip for Jacob Poeltl. He's still out for the Raptors. We know about Van Vliet's injury. Vassell still out for the Spurs. The Suns are fully healthy. The Oklahoma City were without Jalen Williams, Isaiah Hartenstein, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And now it's just Julius Randle for the Minnesota Timberwolves. He's still out for another 1 to 2 months with his injury. Damian Lillard, we know about his injury, out for the season. Brandon Podziemski still out for the Warriors. Cam Whitmore, he's still out. And then also we got another player added for the Wizards injury list, and that is Trey Johnson, but he is day-to-day right now. And that will be it for your injury report for the games played after January 9th, 2026. And tomorrow's game, we will conclude schedule block number 2, as the Los Angeles Clippers will be the last team to be featured in schedule block number 2. They are 25-12, and they'll be at the Motor City hosting the Detroit Pistons. The Pistons were actually featured in a watch game in schedule block number 2. They ended up winning that game, but unfortunately for the Pistons, that game was corrupted game footage, so I only could just go over the stats and the post-game ticker and everything. So there was actually no game footage, but the Pistons did win that game against the Cleveland Cavaliers, so I'll still give them a 1-1 in watch games. The Clippers, though, were scheduled, I believe, twice in a watch game back in schedule block number 1, and they split those 2 games. They won big against the Celtics and then lost against the Utah Jazz in a close one. So that is it for the NBA 2K portion of this. This should be out again around noon Eastern. Don't forget, also coming up a little bit later today at 3 p.m. Eastern will be the ACC championship game between the Duke Blue Devils and the Virginia Cavaliers. That is the ACC Championship for College Football 26 simulation. And then later tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern, we will have the SEC Championship game featuring the Georgia Bulldogs and the Alabama Crimson Tide. And those are 2 huge games there, because Virginia with a chance to get into the real 12-team college football playoff rankings in the 12-team college football playoff in real life. But a Duke win could actually possibly shut out the ACC. It depends on how the committee puts the rankings for the ACC teams, which at the time of the recording of this game, they have not yet been, the updated college football playoff rankings have not been put out yet. But by the time this game is out, they will have been. So this all could be moot point from here. And then also for Alabama on Saturday in their actual SEC championship game, depending on where the committee puts them, they could be you win, you're in, you lose, you're not going to the college football playoff. As simple as that. So that is it. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like, comment, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button, as well as hit the bell icon to receive notifications when these videos do come out. As that is it for this video. Reminding you, the final score of the game, the Dallas Mavericks behind a 56-point performance by Kyrie Irving run all over the Utah Jazz, 114-96, sending the Jazz to their 25th straight loss and to a 2-35 record. I am Vinny from VDub Productions, and I am signing off.